associate professor at Auburn University School of Social Work. I am a mother and a wife and a daughter and a sister, both biologically and otherwise. And I'm excited about the possibilities. I have engaged civically in many different forms, including running for school board in the small rural county in which I live, and I was elected to the school board in my district because I see the challenges of the children in my community, including my own children, to be my concern. So beyond my household, it's beyond the concern of my children, the concern of the children in my community. I see that as part of my responsibility to be able to speak to the change that needs to happen in order for them to have a future that will be boundless, that will allow them to have access to all of the experiences that will fulfill them. And so that's been one concrete way in which I've become civically active. As a child of a social worker, I have always been engaged in the community, whether it was through the NAACP youth councils or participating in the community organizations in the Bronx when the Bronx was burning and people were attempting to figure out how to protect their children and how to provide a way out for them. And so I've kind of incorporated that style of community activism where I live, so it's not necessarily, the person marching around with the signs, but the person who says, you know what, these 5 children who may not be biologically related to me, that I have a responsibility to make sure that those children have opportunities that may have not been afforded them. And so it's been my choice to seek opportunities for all the children in my community, to be able to be a model for the mothers in our community, for the families, and to say to the women particularly that we have a legacy of strength that we are bound to carry on, that we have a responsibility. It's not really a choice that we have to make. That people, I live in a rural county in central Alabama, in the Black Belt region, where people died to just vote, where where women lost their livelihoods because they decided they wanted to vote, where they were fired, where their husbands were beaten, where they were not given the opportunity to have equity in pay, and when they decided that they were being treated unfairly, they were marginalized even further. And so in the context of that environment, I feel empowered, and I feel like not only do I have the right to stand up for the rights of the children in my community, but I am bound to stand up for their rights. So I've sought opportunities. I've tried to use the resources that I have access to make sure that even those institutions that are contributory to the barriers that exist, that they contribute to removing those very same barriers that they've created for children and families in Alabama particularly. And so that's what I've done civically, is to make sure that civic involvement isn't seen as this external, I don't know, peripheral kind of activity, but that it's seen as part of our responsibility. It's seen as the charge to us as generation X's, I guess we are, and the hip hop generation, which I'm soundly grounded in because I was raised in the Bronx, with Africa Bambaataa and people who, so that for me is like this is our time to really charge those around us, our contemporaries, with fulfilling our legacy. Because if we don't, it's dropped, it's gone, and the next generation is lost. And so my concern, and I think that was one of the areas of the talking points, is that we have to recognize we can't be complacent. That if it happens like I think it's getting ready to happen, yes, that's a powerful point in our history, but that just means we have more work to do. That we have to be engaged, that we have to be empowered, we have to step up, step out, stand up in a way that maybe we haven't done in the last 20 years. So I'm excited about what can happen if we really engage.